Hey everyone, I'm on the studio with a couple of guys I've been working with before. What I wanted to do and what I'm trying to get across here is an opportunity to talk about author issues from our perspective. These guys have worked with me on the project that we call the Collective, and what we're going to do is just going to have a little conversation. I'm going to bring them on in. So, Alex, John, what's up, fellas?
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
All right. So before we get started, why don't we give the people a little idea who you are, what you're doing, what's your current project, stuff like that. So John, why don't you help us out first?
My name is Jonathan Staley. That's my author name. I was gonna use an alias, but right now, well, my series is called the Casey Stone series, the Dance with Death series. It's about a ex-Navy SEAL who's now an investigator for his brother's law firm, and he always finds himself in peculiar predicaments. Working different cases, saving the world on his dime. That's how I spin it. Um, the books that are out now concerning Casey Stone are Casey Stone, of course, which is two books in one. Shadows over Detroit and Dance with Death, which is another two book in one. I'm working on the next book, which is Dark Dance with Death, but that's I'm admit I got kind of discouraged with it because of previous book sales. I woke up this morning and said I'm going to finish it. I'm also a freelance screenwriter. I worked in a couple of indie films, Tubi movies, as Detroiters will call it. Um, yeah, that's me. Just been trying to write, get this next book out. Hopefully, it takes off. Yeah, that's
Man,
me in a nutshell.
I'm glad you brought up that thing because Alex and I were talking about discouragement and book sales, and maybe we can broach that a little later. But Alex, first, what's your bio? Who are you? What you doing?
Yep, so I write under the pen name Alex Cage. I have a few series. My most popular will probably be the Orlando Black series, and he's basically just a Special Forces member. He's out of the military, and he always finds himself in situations that he don't really want to get involved with, but he can't help but to get involved with because he's able to help people. And it's kind of like the Lone Ranger walk into town, help solve problems, and continue to move on. And also have a series called the Leroy Silver series. He's an ex assassin turned security consultant, and he helps people as well. And I have a third series. It's a superhero series called Zamba, and it's basically about a young man who's working in Chicago. He stumbles upon some magical gauntlets that gives him superpowers. But basically, the project I'm working on currently is the fourth Orlando Black novel at the very beginning stages, and that's pretty much where I'm at.
I gotta tell you, man, when I read your Orlando Black, I got a Reacher vibe. His this cat
Yeah,
just kind of wandering the earth kind of thing, and finding himself in situations. So that was my takeaway from it. And I'm James Roby. I write the Urban Knights series. It's seven so far. It's a series set in Detroit. It's the former Defense Intelligence Agency officer Jordan Noble comes back home and forms the Urban Knights, and he finds himself tackling crimes that nobody else want to. And John, we're gonna go easy on Alex since he ain't a Detroiter, but we ain't gonna hold that against him. We'll talk slow. So fella, so what I
Oh,
want to
ouch.
it's all right, bro. Anybody ain't able. I just wanted to get us together and like what are you where are you at right now in your writing journey? And John, you can pipe in on this because Alex and I were discussing earlier. It is kind of disheartening. You know, um, I've poured a lot of myself, a lot of my interest in these books. I've been writing for several years now, and I'm just not seeing any sales.
Mhm.
We were mentioned earlier, the three of us, along with a couple other guys, formed a collective, and the idea was that maybe
Excuse
that
me for
would
one
pool
second.
our resources together. And with that said, it's just I just haven't seen the sales, so it is depressing. It is, but I'm hoping that we can get over that.
See, the thing is, and I was kind of trying to figure this out earlier. Now, Every now and then, I will post reels on Instagram. I only have 1,000 followers, but there's this guy I follow. His name is Chris Peranto. He's ex Special Forces. He was part of the security team in Benghazi. You never seen the movie 13 Hours. The character Tonto was actually him in real life. He would share my reels on his page.
Right.
First
That
time he
seems like
did,
that would
I'm
give you some
like,
reach.
right. So yeah, first time I did, I'm like, let's go. I don't know how many. He has like thousands of
Yeah.
followers. So it's the first time I get it, I see it. I'm like, let's go, let's go. And he does it like every month. If I do a new reel, he'll post it. So I think my frustration lies is okay. People are seeing the reels. They're coming to my page. They're seeing the books. But how do you translate that into sales? So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who's black, by the way, and he says maybe you should take your face off the book and don't put a black character on the cover. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Didn't
I don't
Motown
want to
do
do
that
that.
like 50 years ago?
Right. I'm like, no, I don't want to do
No,
that.
that's not cool.
And I'm like, that's not cool. I'm not changing. I'm not changing anything about my books. But then he says, well, maybe there's not a market for black writers writing what you write. And I'm like, well, that can't be it either because you have authors like Eric Jerome Dickey, even though his stuff was kind of borderline, with the Gideon series. Gideon was an assassin. He had a mysterious background. And you have like other authors out there that do what we do, but they're getting the success. But on in the mainstream, you don't see a lot of us, doing the numbers like Jack Carr and um Brad Thor and Mark Green and um what's the other one I just started following? Brad Taylor.
Hmm.
His Pike Logan series. So you don't see a lot of us doing that. And my question is, why? Number one, why can't we get the independent sales if people are coming to our pages? Because I know people come to you guys' pages too.
Well, you know what,
It's,
man? I think you hit on where I'm at because
mm,
you're asking the question why? Why can't we do this? And one of the things I was relating earlier was that you got to get butts in the seat, metaphorically speaking. Who is your audience? Who do you
right,
see picking up the book and saying this is it? Now I ain't gonna lie, I would want that to be brothers, people who look like us, people who would say, man, I've been looking for somebody who looks like me, who is in the same space as me, who's doing heroic things, you know. But I don't think that's true. I don't think that there's enough audience for that. So it's like, well, who is the audience? Is it that 18 to 35 white male demographic? Is it women? Is it black women? Is it white women? But
mm,
whoever it is, one, how do you reach them? And two, is this what they want?
right,
Yeah, I think too, we could get a lot from the feedback of our readers, but I mean, I guess that's kind of like you have to have kind of a big pool to kind of,
Yeah, it's the
get
chicken and the
that
egg
data.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
and then like you just touched on, is like um, when you said the white male is 18 to 35, at the same in the same sentence, and the same idea is if that's what we're going after, how do we cross over to them? How do we get them to read what we wrote? Like following some of these authors that I just named a few moments back, if you go on their pages and read like the people's comments on like when for example, when Terminal List was made into a TV show,
Okay.
people were so pissed that they changed one of the characters to an Asian woman. So reading those comments, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the base I want because they buy books, but they read my book, they're not gonna like my book because my main character is black.
But
In one of the books, he
is it
hunts down white supremacists.
but is it a
So
black thing or is it that they changed? Because do you remember when uh Michael B. Jordan did Without Remorse? And see, that character is historically white. And
hmm
there was immediate rejection of it. I remember when I saw that, I was like, oh man, people ain't gonna like this. And I was reading stuff
hmm
like The Stars and Stripes and a lot of conservative people who read Tom Clancy historically, and they were pretty upset by that, and they
Yeah.
were so is that and I say this because, first of all, I want to say this from the point of view of let's be very clear where we're coming from, and let's
hmm
not leave any stone unturned. Is that because they're upset because they changed the character, or are they upset because the character is black? So
They were upset because the character was Asian. They changed the character from a white woman who had this Nordic background to an Asian woman. And a lot of comments were like, "Well, how are you going to explain her background? She was a Nordic descendant, just like James Bond. You
mhm,
know, when Daniel Craig took over, Bond can't be blonde. He's black hair and this, that, and the
yeah,
other.
yeah.
So it's
And
like,
I gotta admit, man, I was in that camp. I was in the James Blonde camp, man. I was hard, but
right.
Roger
I
Moore had
like
white
him.
hair.
Hmm.
Yeah, but this is me as a longtime James Bond fan. Oh, he can't be like that. He's got to be like this. And it's like, well, give it a shot. And he has. I mean, I like Skyfall. I even like Spectre.
He had some of the best movies.
Yeah.
Uh,
I always say
I
Craig's
like Roger
hair,
Moore too, but
Daniel Craig's Bond series, basically, it is one of the best series because
I
number
agree.
one,
mm.
it kind of
We're gonna
kind
let
of brought it in.
James.
Look at, he doesn't agree, but
Hey
it
man,
kind of like
hey man.
brought
There's
it
only
into
one James
reality
Bond, and
for
his
us.
name is Sir Sean Connery, and I'm sticking to that.
Well,
Oh
Sean
man,
Connery,
it was
you
good.
know, and me and my sometimes writing partner, we always say because he writes scripts with me. It's like it's Sean Connery and Daniel Craig. He says only Bonds he recognizes Sean Connery and Daniel Craig.
Hmm.
Roger Moore.
But I do want to touch on something that you just talked about, and I'm jumping off subject a little bit. But
Oh,
without
that's cool.
remorse, I watched an interview with Mark Greaney and
Yeah,
Michael B. Jordan because Mark Greaney wrote some of the Tom Clancy books after Tom Clancy passed, and
he wrote some with Tom Clancy while he was still
right,
alive. I
yeah.
don't know if he wrote them or he ghost wrote them, but anyway, that's another topic.
And watching that interview, you can tell by his body language that he wasn't happy with the remake.
Mm.
Um, and the change of the character. And I always say this, like watching that and after being a Tom Clancy fan, number one, it shouldn't have been called Without Remorse because it did not follow the book
He didn't follow this
whatsoever.
book at all.
It should have been if you were introducing a new John Clark, it should have just been called John Clark.
Well, I think what they were doing is that, and it didn't work out. At least it hasn't worked
Mhm.
out. Is that they were trying to get to Rainbow Six.
Yeah, set it
So
up
they
for Rainbow Six.
so they
Yeah.
were just introducing John Clark. The only similarities between the book and the movie is that his wife died, but then even that is greatly different. But
Hmm.
is it because they changed him to a black guy, or it's because he's a black guy? And I'm the kind of guy that's like and again I talked about Axis before. I have seen some things personally, and people I've talked to about the issue of race, and I think that for us it's important to tell our story because I'm with you, John. I'm not changing nothing.
Hmm.
I mean, if Netflix knocked on my door and they said we're gonna change it from Detroit to Chicago, I guess I could live with that. But I would be mad about that. But still,
Right.
I don't want to change the essence of the story, and
Hmm.
that would
And
be
I'm sorry, after you finish your thought, I'm gonna have to jump off because after my daughter's, I'll explain that later.
all right.
Yeah, I
But
gotta
but
go to
but
bed.
my point is, and
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thought about this. Is that you know we have to we're telling our story, we're selling our story, but we have to include in that sell how do we reach that market? How do we reach that 18 to 35-year-old? And I don't
Right.
think that necessarily we got to change it, but we got to go to where they are because that's who's buying these tickets without
Exactly.
compromising who we are.
Right. And it's like trying to crack Da Vinci's code because there's no set way to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like you have to strike like strike lightning or strike gold. To get. I always say this, and I'm all over the place, but I think of it like this: if I can get at least 10 of them to read my book, or if you can get at least 10 of them to read your book, or you can get at least 10 of them to read your book, they're gonna go back and tell their friends.
Mm.
Their friends are gonna read it. They're gonna tell their friends, and it builds by word of mouth. Because that's how I got onto like Jack Carr. Somebody told me about this book. This guy writes stuff that you write. You should read his books. And I read his books. I'm like, well, shit. But then
There is
again,
some truth to the whole word of mouth. It's the most,
hmm
especially for
Yeah,
books. That's where
yeah,
that's where
John.
people get the books from.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Jen, I know you have to go. I just have a question for both of you. Is there anything you guys try that does work that you find that works well or better than
I did a
most?
50% off sale
Hmm.
of my ebook a
Okay.
month ago, and that increased my sales a
I
little bit.
noticed that too. Promotions help.
Yeah, promotions help. I haven't gotten into the paid advertising yet, and I haven't gotten into the pages that contact you like, oh, send us $50, we'll promote your books. You got a
Right.
million followers, but when I look at your post, there's no engagement.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not
Hmm.
sending you $50.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I try sales. I try to reach out to different authors I know. I even try to, hold message some publishers and some agents, just to try to get myself out there.
I mean, I gave a good giveaway, and I was an Amazon bestseller, but I didn't
Yeah.
make any money because I gave it away. But
Right.
thousands of people downloaded my book. So I don't know, man. I really believe there's a code to be cracked. I don't know what the code is, and
Hmm.
you get a lot of input from people saying, do this, and like you mentioned, well, give me some money and I'll do this. I mean, I've hired
Mhm.
people, I've done all these different advertising things. I think one of the things is consistency. You got to do it over and over again, and that is expensive, and that's just the thing. I think
Hmm.
too, what we're doing, and finding influencers and people in our community, and when I say our community, I mean our community as a genre, to promote us, to talk to us, to get on people's radars or talk shows or whatever it is. I just think you just got to be in the room, as it were, so people can talk to you. But John, I know you
Hmm.
said you got to go, man. Is there any chance you can come back? Because we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to come back. How long you guys gonna be on? I
We
can be
won't
back
be
in
an
like 20
hour. I
minutes.
don't think we're gonna be no hour.
Okay, no, I'll be gone for like 20 minutes. So I can
Okay.
be
All
back
right. Well,
in
if we
like
get a
20
chance,
minutes.
man, come back. We want to keep having this conversation.
Okay, we'll do, man.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Okay. So there goes
Yeah.
John. Now we can talk about it behind his back. Now I'm playing. But so yeah. Well, so we're back to that conversation of what do you do? And I mentioned earlier, and we talked about this, the movie Shadow Force, and that was
Hmm.
a Kerry Washington vehicle that didn't do very well. And I asked the question, who was the audience for that? And I think that's a lot of it. Who is our audience? Who are we trying to reach? And does that audience exist? Because I mean, I keep saying that, but who is our audience? Who is your audience? Who do you want to get you to that top 10, top 100 list?
I mean, I'm a big fan of like, I don't know if you remember the 80s and 90s, like action movies type thing.
I think you're trying to call me old on the
Yeah.
fly, but it's all right.
And like you mentioned, the Tom Clancy
Mm.
books, even like some of the newer stuff, the Jack Cars and the Lee Childs, I think I would like to think my audience is the individuals who kind of like the same things I like in
Hmm.
regards to literary work and also the movies, entertainment in general. It's more psychographics than demographics, I believe. It's more of a, I don't know, like you said, I'm calling you old, but if you know who like John Rambo is, or of course you do.
Is he a rapper or? No,
But
I,
yeah,
I, I, I feel you, man, and that's valid. But there's still this thing of how do you get in touch with them? And I think that's back to this whole thing that I was mentioning earlier about repetition and doing it. It's like I think you said earlier, and John kind of alluded to it. If there's 10, there's 100. If there's 100, there's 1,000.
yeah.
But how do you get from 10 to 100? And I think some of it is economy of scale, and there's this thing of you got to be able. It's got to be repetitive. You got to be able to do it not once, not twice, but 100, 1,000, 2,000 times. You know, that's what the power of the internet has always been that this kind of thing of you send it, you blast it out there, and it hits 1,000 people. And I've done that too, where I've gotten,
Mhm.
you can see on some of my posts where it's like, will you boost your post? And you boost it, and you get 2,000 hits and one sale.
I think your question is definitely valid with who are you trying to reach? And I heard, I think a marketer say one time, your job shouldn't be to attract it should be to be attractive. So when those people find you, they're attracted to you. So building your brand, but like you said, you got to know who the audience is, and
Are
just
we
kind of focus
attractive?
in on them.
I mean, I know we're kind of dancing around this issue, but are we attractive? Are we attractive to that 18 to 35 white male audience? And you're saying, if I'm understanding you right, we should be because we're in the same wheelhouse.
Hmm.
But are we?
Hmm. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I know for me, some of my readers are older than that,
Then
so
30, 18 to 35,
probably like more like 30 to 65 or something.
probably. Because, but
I'm
when
not
I
sure
say
if
that
you.
18 to 35, that's the movie going age. That's that target audience.
Hmm.
When you're making a $1 billion Avengers movies, that's the people who you want to get, and the rest will be peripherals. But you want that group because that's the biggest guys who's spending the money and all that.
Well, let's see. Like your character, Jordan Noble. Uh, who would you liken him to? Heroes of today, or heroes of the past type deal?
I mean, if I had to, I mean, definitely Shaft comes to mind. He's a private
See,
detective. He's a man of the people.
but how many 18 to 35-year-olds watch Shaft?
But they don't have to know who Shaft is to appreciate that character.
Hmm.
So if I had to pick somebody today, um,
But you went to Shaft originally.
but that was my idea. You
Okay.
asked me what I thought. That's what I thought because that was what I came up with. And
Okay.
but that trope or that archetype is not indifferent. Um,
Hmm.
you know, 20 years ago there was a TV show because I'm so old. Actually, more like 30 years ago, it was Mike Hammer, Mickey Spillane's Mike Hammer, and it was that same kind of guy in the street.
Hmm.
There was what was that guy? I can't remember his name, but the TV show was SWAT. He was a cop, but he was still a guy from the community, and that was where he was from. So these kind of things reoccur. The
Been
movie
going on for
trope. Go ahead,
years.
huh?
Yeah, I was just saying it's been going on for years. These type of characters,
Yeah, this
archetypes,
it's not a
decades.
it's not a new thing, and it's not something that's been that's dated or anything. So I
Hmm.
still think there's a valid need for that. One of the things about my character that I aimed for that was different. You got to be different. You got to be the same. So the different thing is that it's not Jordan Noble. It's the Urbanites. So it's a team of guys. Jordan Noble is definitely the lead character, but he's got this camaraderie among friends, which was what made me want to write the books in the first place. I based it upon my friendships from college, and that kind of ride or die. These are my boys kind of thing, and he brings that. So they're all got these different skill sets that they feed in, and Jordan enacts it as the action hero, as
And you would say though, over 30, your readers,
probably.
audience
I
is
mean, and I
Mhm.
say that just because I don't think people, and it's going to sound horrible saying this, under 30 read that much.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean,
So maybe the medium that they're consuming it.
yeah, so I've done things like I've gone to audiobooks. I produced 2 audiobooks, and that still hasn't caught on. And I
Right.
truly believe it's a matter of people don't know.
Mm.
And even with your advertisement, I don't know, man. Here's a good question, and this is why I wanted to talk to you guys. When you
Mhm.
buy a book, what makes you buy a book? Is it the cover? Is somebody tell you about it? I mean, what makes you go, I'm gonna check out this latest Tom Clancy joint?
Yeah, I think it's the name, the author name. I'm looking for similar things. I know that author. People telling you is, another driving point for me. It's like, okay, they said, they tell you kind of the elements of the story that, that attracts you, and you kind of going on that. But I
So
would say those two things.
so we would need to be able to duplicate that. Now we're back to how do you duplicate that? How do you get people to say, "Hey, if you heard about Alex Cage, he's really good. You
Right.
ought to. If you like this guy, if you like, Lee Childs, you need to check him out." And I
You're
see
right.
that parallel just because, like I said, I saw your a reacher element in your character. How do
Mhm.
you get that conversation going? I don't know how to do that, and I
That's a
freely
good
admit
point.
that. I mean,
That's a good point. There's a book
mm,
called, I need to finish it up. I actually have the paperback in the audio. It's called Contagion. You ever heard of that?
hold on a second. Who? Tajin?
Yeah, Contagion.
No, I ain't heard of that. Go to what's it about?
It's
I need to
it's called
invite.
Why Things Catch On, and basically he talks about I think there's like 5 or 6 elements that make things viral, so to speak. And I
So
don't
this is
remember
a
right off the
this
top
is
of my
a
head.
relatively recent book.
Yeah, yep,
Okay.
relatively
So what
recent.
what what makes things go viral?
Yeah, I want to see what they are. I can't remember.
John's trying to come back, so I'm gonna send him a link real
Okay.
quick. But I'm with you, dog.
What are they? I got it. Yeah, if you put it, it's like the acronym is STEPPS, and basically, and I'm reading it. So if I'm looking down or whatever, social currency, triggers, emotion, public, practical value, and stories.
So do you need to have all those things, or some of them, or?
Well, I guess the more likelihood it is to become viral. But you know, like social currency, you know
Hey,
what
here
that
comes John.
is.
And
Social
that John,
currency.
man, I tell you, he's such a jerk. Oh, hey, man, I ain't see you come back.
Yeah, he was talking about you.
No, man, I was defending you.
Yeah.
Welcome back, bruh. So what
Thank.
what we're talking about is, Alex is hitting on some things that, what you need to be viral, and can you go over that acronym again?
Yeah, it's a book called Contagious, and I can't remember who wrote it, but he goes over like I think it's like 6 different elements you need for your whatever product service to go viral, and he has an acronym for it. It's STEPS. It's STEPPS, and the first S is social currency. The T is triggers. The E is emotions. The first P is public. The second P is practical values, and the last S is stories.
So all right, man, here we are together, and we have pledged we gonna crack up 10,000 members. We're gonna do this. There's
Mhm.
three of us together. We seem to
Okay.
be men of reasonable intelligence. What do we do? How do we get those 6 things? How do we combine our resources, our talents, our reach to make that happen?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess we could kind of discuss them. I'm not a professional expert in them,
No, no, I mean I'm just
but
we're just
yeah.
spitballing.
Right. But you know, social currency. You know what that is, right?
Yeah. So how do we? Oh, we lost John. How do we expand upon that? How do we make that happen?
I mean, you have to be valid. You have to have a way for other people to be valid too. Like if you're, like, let's say your book is good,
Mhm.
you have to. People want to know that they're gonna get social currency if they sit, like share your book with somebody else, right? Oh, that was a really good book. Okay, bam, they share it with somebody, and then they read. They're like, oh yeah, that is a really good book. That's kind of like what social currency is, and like triggers will be like something you do every day, like you brush your teeth every day, right? So if you could have like your product or service geared around brushing your teeth, it's more likely to go viral because that's something you do every day. Every week has a Friday. If you had something going on, like towards the weekend, and maybe you could do. Everybody goes through Friday before they go to the weekend. Maybe you could do something on that day or whatnot. And emotions, of course. I mean, you study marketing, you know how important it is to get people emotionally involved in that. And then public. I think I kind of remember in the book where they talked about like why Apple put the Apple the way they put it on the devices. It's not so the person who has the device could look at it, but for the people
Uh,
around them to look at it. And practical value, that's just how useful something is, right? It has to be
Mhm.
useful. If they're a reader, you're writing in their genre. Hopefully, they find that useful, right? And stories. If you could get a story around your product or service, it's more likely to go viral.
Okay.
so do we need to?
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, no, no, it's
I
valid.
mean, you're.
No, go on, sorry.
I'm sorry. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because like lately I've been toying with um I've been doing anything to try to get people directed to my page, to be honest with you. But I've been toying with doing taking short paragraphs from like my upcoming book and putting them to like AI generated art and doing like a video clip,
I've seen
Hmm.
that.
trying to get people to get interested So they can be like, okay, well, what's next? Oh, you don't have another one. Let me buy the book when it comes out, or let me see what you got going out already. But it's like it's when you speak about going viral, a lot of what you just said makes sense because sometimes I find myself on people's pages, and it's like after a minute, I'm like, why am I watching the video of this person walking around their kitchen, cleaning their kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, some people got gimmicks. Some of the women have gimmicks. You know, yeah, I'm gonna watch a woman cook and she got a big booty because I'm not watching her cook. I'm looking at her butt.
Uh-oh.
You know, but it's like, yeah, it's like it's. I get what you're saying, and it's like, but how do you, like you were saying, James? How do you translate that into being an author? You know, how do we do that?
Well, I think
Um,
for me, I think the first thing, this social currency, is that we need to get some social currency from somebody who's already got it. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody who can say, "You guys need to read this." James, John, and Alex, they pretty cool. If you can get that, that's half the battle. Now,
mhm,
sometimes that's expensive. You can buy that, and you can make your comments about how practical or how realistic or how necessary that is.
mhm,
And I know that's what you were talking about earlier, John. It's kind of like, oh, give me $50 and I'll blast your stuff out. But here we are, cause see what you're talking about, John. I saw that because I saw you using the same platform I was using at Sorrow, and
mhm,
I saw you do some things, and I've done some things too, and it's just like these are pretty cool. I mean, this is some no kidding high level AI stuff.
mhm,
Are we just not sending it in the right direction? I mean, I keep coming back to this thing of who's our audience and are we reaching them? And are we, once we get to them, if we were standing in front of our audience, will we have these things that Alex was talking about to make them say, yeah, I'm invested? And I think, the biggest problem is like, I don't know who that audience is. I mean, I'm just being honest, man.
mhm,
I just don't know.
I want to say something on that social currency. Also, is for the person who's sharing it, right? People
mhm.
like to share stuff that makes them look good. So it's like, how is what you're,
Yeah.
putting out there
Yeah.
is going to make the person that share it look like the hero.
Yeah.
Right. So you want a person to be like, I'm bringing these guys to the world kind of thing. But they got to have some sort of buy-in. I think we're kind of in the right neighborhood. Well, for me, and I know for you guys, don't let me speak for you, is that how do we do it? Is there a person we need to talk to? Is there a 10-step program? I mean, I don't know because I really feel like it's just a matter of I've read both of you guys' stuff, and I just really think it's a matter of no one is seeing it,
Mhm.
and if we can get to that point, and the method is there, Alex identified the method. I just don't know how to do it, man. I mean, I just don't know.
Sometimes I think it's that stroke of luck. Is right place, right time.
Mm,
Because I was talking to this was a while back. There's a guy out there. His Instagram name was Mark Owen Seal. He was one of the SEALs on SEAL Team Six that killed Bin Laden. And how he came across my page is I had on the because he was behind the SEAL Team TV show. I had on the SEAL
yeah, I know you talking about.
Team T-shirt one time. It was like 3 years ago, and I posted a picture of me in the T-shirt and said I would love to write for the show. Tag the SEAL Team show and this, that, and the other. So what do you call it? Hashtagged it. So he inboxes me, says, "Have you ever reached out to a writer on the show?" Number one, I'm shocked because I read his book. His book is called No Easy Day.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I'm like, okay. So I reached back out to him, like, no, I haven't. And he was like, well, what's your phone number? So he gave me a call. And he said, well, what direction are you trying to go? And I said, I told him I'm trying to sell more books. I'm trying to get into actually writing for TV shows. And, I have a couple of scripts I want to get made into movies. And he was explaining to me how sometimes he doesn't fuck with Hollywood anymore, to be honest with you. Because I inboxed him. Well, he inboxed me recently, because with his first book, he wrote the book without going through the proper channels with the Pentagon. So, and he got bad advice from his first attorney. So he wrote the book, sent it to the publishing company. They published the book. Pentagon came back and said, "Hey, you weren't supposed to do this. It was supposed to go through us first." And him and his lawyer's argument was, "Well, everything that's in the book is already in Catherine Bigelow's movie Zero Dark 30."
It was out 30.
So he ended up having to pay the government like $6 million because
Wow.
he didn't follow protocol, and that's when he stopped fucking with Hollywood. I'm sorry with my language,
Is he
but
out of the service at this point?
he was out of the service at the point. So yeah, he left. Uh, but I was talking to him, and he was saying that sometimes it's what we just talked about, getting the book sales and getting the audience. And he said sometimes it's just right place, right time. He said he knows Jack Carr. They were teammates at one point. He had a book, and he said that he was doing uh technical advising on the Equalizer too. So Jack, I'm gonna give you a book to Antoine Fuqua. Antoine
Hmm.
Fuqua was there. He said at the time Antoine was dealing with Chris Pratt, trying to come up with producing something together. So that's how Chris Pratt and Antoine Fuqua got the book through him. And there was another guy involved named Jared Shaw, who was also their teammate, who sent the book at the same time to Chris Shaw as the same time that Mark was sending it to him. So I said all that to say this. Sometimes it is right place, right time, knowing the right people, and then sometimes it's fighting tooth and nail to get it. So it's like I'm gonna be honest. I've stopped looking for one blueprint on how to do it, and I'm trying to cover all my bases. You know what I'm saying? If I have
Like
a
that.
conversation, if I have a conversation with somebody who's in the industry, let them know, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, although it's brought me just a little bit of money, I'm trying to get out of doing the indie writing in the city because number one, they don't want to pay you.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to I'm trying to cover all bases and go through all avenues. And I said all that to say this. I think that's like one of the things you have to do with social media too. Is don't be afraid to reach out to people. Um, because I was shocked when he inboxed me, but I haven't been afraid to reach back out to him when I have questions and things of that nature. But
Now, I kind of found that people, if you ask them for help, they'll help.
mhm,
You know,
mhm,
I think Alex said earlier, there's plenty of room at the top, and I think a lot of people who are successful kind of operate in that space. You know,
mhm,
they kind of understand that it don't do me no good keeping you down.
mhm,
Many hands. One wave lifts many ships and that kind of thing. And
mhm.
I think you're right, John. There is this kind of thing of knowing the right person. But I think that you got to be ready when you meet that right person. That's the other
Yeah,
part of the equation.
yeah.
It's just that when there's that famous thing, you're on the elevator and, the publisher of Random House turns you and says, so tell me about your book. And it's like, oh, it's only halfway done. They can't publish half a book. So, I don't know if this is an issue of us not having those opportunities or us not knowing where to contact these people. I think social media makes it better. I
Mhm.
think one thing we can take from what John's saying is that it don't hurt to ask. All they can say is no or
Mhm.
I'm too busy or whatever. So you can go from there.
Then I look at some of these stories of people on TikTok, and it's like such and such just got a screenplay deal from such and
Yeah.
such, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? They got a screenplay deal for talking about their bad marriage, or they were contacted by Tyler Perry because it's like, what am I doing wrong?
I
Yeah,
I
Um,
think. Go
I
ahead.
think it's a whole
but
lot more of the opposite than that though. It's like hundreds of thousands of people that don't
That's true.
they
Yeah,
don't
that's true.
they don't get it.
But it
But
still bothers you when you see
oh yeah,
something crazy,
absolutely.
and it's like, man,
Absolutely.
what am I doing wrong? And I want to get back to this because I think it's valid. I really wanted to get to us as African American writers. Is it an issue of who we are and what we're doing as writers? Is it a issue of there's just not a demand for black action heroes? Now, before you answer that, uh, um, it has been my experience because, as Alex pointed out, I'm so old. Um, that there are like two kinds of action movies starring a black guy. And there's the action movie, and Wesley Snipes was famous for this, where it's the black guy and that's it. Everybody else is white. And he is this street tough, and everyone's kind of, backing away from him because you don't know what he's gonna do. He might explode at any minute. And then there's the other action comedy. It's an all black cast, and everyone is making jokes and everyone is, I think about like Martin Lawrence and Will Smith and Bad Boys. I mean,
Mhm.
those guys, Martin Lawrence is a comedian, and Will Smith has got some comedic background with Fresh Prince and Bel Air, but we don't see Black John Wick or Black James Bond. A action hero in a setting where it's not he's the only one kind of thing. And I really hate that. He's a unicorn and he's the only black guy. Like there's not black spies, there's not black policemen, there's not black. Is that a factor? Is that something we got to deal with? Because day to day, I hear what you all are saying, and I think that's real
Mhm.
when you go, this is what I got to do to overcome this. But the overwhelming information I get back is like, we don't want you. I mean, am I wrong or?
No, because the funny story is, I posted, I commented on someone's post. They were talking about, they were hyping up this Tubi movie. It's like all about drug dealers and this, that, and the other. And I said,
So sick of
haven't we
TV.
had enough of this? I said, where are the black, uh, what's the name of that movie on TV show? I said, where are the black This Is Us's? Where are the black action heroes? Where are the black John Wicks, the black James Bonds, things of that nature? The black Navy SEALs. And somebody comment, we don't want to see that shit. I quickly deleted my comment because I'm like, okay, y'all just told me how y'all feel, but that was only like a small percentage of the population. These are people who love TV, who think Tubi movies deserve Oscars. So there we go.
Yeah, yeah, I
But
agree.
I
Small
do I
percentage.
do see what you're saying. What you're asking is like, do people want that from black authors? Do they want a black hero? And I honestly thought about, you guys seen the movie American Fiction?
Yeah, we talked about that a couple times. So
Oh man,
I
you
thought
know what,
about
man? That
either
movie should be
A.
required viewing for all Americans. I mean, and you know what? Its mirror opposite should be too. What's it called? The Society of Magical Negroes.
The
Yeah,
magical black nigga,
yeah, that's
yeah.
like the opposite side of that movie. And I'm
Hmm.
feeling you, dog. And it's like, for those who don't know, he's a famous writer. He's proficient. He's not a fiction writer. I think he's like he writes. He writes for his college, and he's
Hmm.
getting no love. He there's one scene where he's taking his books out of the fiction section because it features black people. It's like, no, it doesn't belong here. It belongs over here. It's like, no.
Yeah.
And so he in his frustration, he's got things going on in his life and everything. He says, "Screw it, I'm just gonna write every single black trope. The baby mama drama. He's got a wayward father. He kills him. He's a drug dealer. I mean everything, and
Yep.
he just blows up. And he can't. And he's like actively trying to sabotage it, and it just gets better, better and better.
Bigger and bigger
He
and
says."
bigger. Yep.
He's like, I can't believe this. I'm going to change the title to fuck. And it just blows up. It's like there's nothing he can do to keep it from stopping. But his personal life is crap. I freaking love that movie because your girl from Living Single was looking fine. But that's an aside. But
Erica
yeah,
Elder,
I hear what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
saying. It's just like, what do you do, man? I mean, do I give the people what they want? Is that what they want? I mean,
Right.
I live in that place and I'm stuck in it. And that's
Like, do
really
I
like,
stay true to myself, or do I go write some ghetto shit that I know is gonna sell? That I know, they're gonna be downloading off of Amazon and reading it. And like, do I do that, or do I take my face off the book, write a bunch of white characters, and see if that sells? It's like,
see, Alex said we should all individually write a story about a white woman and see how that goes.
I was
right.
joking.
Yeah, and then we could change our name to like Pat Steele or something like that. And it was like, oh, I did
you
say
And
know,
I did say
I said if it doesn't sell, then we know that's not the issue. We can move on from it.
okay,
because
but
when you read stuff like, I'm guilty. I read the 50 Shades of Grey book, and I'm like,
Wow.
this shit sucks. Like, her writing sucks, but it sold millions. It made her a millionaire.
you know
It's
what?
like,
Everyone who I've ever talked to who read that book says the exact same thing. But it's like she's
it's like,
wallpapering her walls with $50 bills. I mean,
right.
what am I doing
So it's
wrong
like,
here?
right. So how did she sell? Was it the sex? Was it that she's a white woman? Was it a combination of her being white, the sex, and she got the right publisher? I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
how,
sometimes
how
there's. Yeah, I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
And I was just thinking, sometimes like no answer for this stuff, right? Because all those same
Exactly.
characteristics you mentioned, a lot of people have them and they don't sell a
They
thing,
don't
right?
sell a
So it's like,
damn
what's that?
thing.
What's that? What's that thing, right?
I don't know if it's a
Like
matter of. I think
what's
that
his name? S.A. Cosby, King of Ashes. I
Oh
read
yeah.
this book and I'm like, okay, this is a good book, but I read something like this before.
Hmm.
But he's blowing up. He
Yeah.
has a
well,
multi.
he can't
He
be
just
stopped. And I remember Alex asked me about it a few years ago, and it's like, yeah, I read it. It was just not it was the first one, the Blacktop.
Yeah.
I can't remember
black
the name.
top black. I know which
I
one
know
you're
what you
looking
guys
Yeah,
at.
talking about.
and it was like, yeah, it's a good book, but it's like, he's estranged from his daughter. He
Yeah.
got baby mama drama, and he's a crook, and da da da. It's like, is anybody? I mean, the world believes that every single Negro is a crook. It's
Hmm.
like
What you
that's
saw that book I sent you, James?
what's
What
that?
was it? He said something about this girl got roaches in her house or something. Some
Oh,
book that
I
was
saw that. You know what? I have a female friend who reads crap like that.
is
And I
crazy.
asked her one day, I said, every time I text you, every time I call you, you say you're reading. I said, but you're not reading my books.
But
So
she
I just
will.
can't get
She
I
promises
just
that
can't
she
get into
will.
your books. She said, I
Really?
can't get into your books. I'm
And
like,
why is that?
why not?
What
She's like,
she
because
said
I
she
like
can't
ghetto
what?
shit. Hmm?
Oh, really? She
She's
said
like, I
she
like ghetto shit. I'm like,
see.
okay, well,
But does she watch? I mean, someone is watching James Bond. Someone is who looks like us is watching John Wick. Someone is,
hmm
and here's my thing, and to change gears a little bit. This happens to me in social media every so often, and I've gotten into like literal fights with people where people are demanding a black fill in the blank, a black Wolverine, a black James Bond, a black Spider-Man. And it's like, I don't want a black Superman. I want Icon. I don't know if you guys know who Icon is, but it's
hmm
like, why do we want to just jump to the head of the line by
For
stealing somebody
example,
else's character? We sitting here, we all got characters who scratch that itch. Why won't you read that? And I think one, because it's in a book. I honestly believe if it was a movie, all of us we'd be sitting here, we'd be counting money. But the
hmm
thing is something about, I just want to jump to the front of the line. Just give me, and it's almost like they owe it to us. Like give us and it's funny because the week that, I don't know if you guys know who Aaron Pierce is. He's a British actor. There was
Yeah.
speculation that he
Yeah.
was going to be the next James Bond. That same week, Marvel produced a comic book called the World to Come, and it featured a white Black Panther. And Negroes lost their mind. So in one breath, you want there to be a black James Bond, but it's like, oh no, the Black Panther can't be white.
He's
It's like,
off limits, right?
yeah, that's. I mean, I don't understand it. I don't know. We get into something different about support from our own community, which makes me cry sometimes, quite frankly.
hmm
And I don't. Like you said, both of us are from Detroit. Sorry, Alex. And I just can't get that love. People love the idea, but it's like, I need you to open your wallet and give me money. And that's
Right.
just not
Because
happening.
you can like my stuff on Facebook
Yeah,
all
that's
day, but
beautiful.
like I need you to buy a copy, if you like it. Or I hate the people like, I'm gonna buy your book. I'm gonna buy your book. Don't say it, just do it,
Do it. You standing here
You know?
talking to me, do it right
Right.
now.
Or the people 3 years later, yeah, man, I've been meaning to buy your book. What's stopping you? But I love this one. Can you send me a copy of your book? Why? Are you
they
part of
want
the
to
I,
keep.
press?
I, I have I haven't gotten that too
Are
much
are
because
you
I
gonna
I,
give it to
I, I
Spike
shut
Lee or
that down.
somebody? No, I wouldn't want Spike to touch my shit. But are you gonna give it to Ryan Coogler or somebody? I mean, Spike would take shit. Casey Stone probably be in jazz club playing the saxophone and walking through New York. I give it to Spike, but I take that paycheck. But
Yeah, I take
but
that paycheck too. Is that the payoff? Give me some of that. Hey fellas, give me a second. I'll be right back.
okay. But yeah, it, it's it's interesting, this business that we chose to go into.
The
Um,
show is.
and it's like I've written like smut just to
Oh
see if that will sell.
wow!
It's like
And
I'm
I know.
trying everything to get me known.
Mhm.
So
And I know that discoverability thing. It's like they mentioned, and I think it's kind of known in marketing. It's like you need like at least 20 products before you even get any type of
mm,
discoverability. So like
right.
20 books really.
Yeah, I
But
read
yeah.
something a while ago that said your first book your first book is not your first book,
Hmm.
meaning that you probably had to go through at least six books before you get that
Sorry,
commercial
Nancy Citro.
success.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know.
I think it's like 20 books I read that before like you really start getting some good discoverability, like organic. But
Hmm.
when like what you were saying though, when you see someone that just puts out like their first book and they get all this success, it can be a little bit.
And they're getting like, because I heard that S.A. Cosby got, well, the Obamas picked up All Sinners Bleed, and then they just picked up King of Ashes,
Hmm.
and it was a bidding war between them and Steven Spielberg for All Sinners Bleed. So they met. I think they met each other halfway. It was like, we'll produce it together, but it's like, and
Did you
there
say
was
the
this.
Obamas?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
higher ground media is their company. So because they produced American Fiction,
Oh,
but it's
did
like,
they?
yeah, they produced American Fiction. Uh, but it's
That's
like,
interesting.
we're like, okay, we got action stories over here.
Yeah, you know
You
what,
guys don't want to produce
and
that?
as far as that's concerned, you would think that just from a storytelling point of view, all right, we know about the brother who, his daddy left him, and he got kids out of the labor
Yeah.
market. We've heard that story.
Hmm.
Can we hear another story? I mean, it's this thing of, it's everything's got to be about the struggle, and it's like, okay, the struggle is important. It's an important part of our history, and it's something that we need to talk about. But that's not all we need to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I
I
mean,
agree. I couldn't agree
there's this
more.
thing of black people can't have fun. We have to be constantly in the struggle, and maybe
Hmm.
that's it too. I mean, I think we are identifying fairly a lot of things that are roadblocks, and what we need to do is overcome them. I don't think it does us any good to ignore them and say, oh no, it's not that bad. But there is a thing of, well, what do you do? I mean,
Hmm.
okay, it's raining outside. We can complain about it's raining, or we can grab an umbrella. And I think
Right.
that's where we
I,
are right now.
I got a question for both of you. It's about your characters. So uh, I told you, James.
Why you always
Jordan
me,
Noble.
man?
Jordan Noble. What
Yes, sir.
are, I mean, like, give me two things, like, you really, two or three if you want, that you really like about the character and how he's the opposite of what you just mentioned, the opposite of the struggle.
He's self-made. He's very devoted to his friends. He is a he left the service. He's very well off, and he immediately grabs two of his best friends, and he creates the Urban Ice Detective Agency. But he's honest. He's not fearless, and he's not perfect, but he is clear on what he's supposed to do, and he gets laid a lot.
Oh, wow.
Well, not a lot.
What about you? What
He's
about
not
you?
rocking them like James Bond, and that's something I actually was very conscious about. That it's not like the babe of the book kind of thing, but that he does have relationships. It's like three main relationships, of course, across the course of the books. But yeah, I mean, he is a three-dimensional person. He's not just guns and two guns jumping through the air kind of thing.
Hmm. Okay. What about you, John? What about
Um.
Casey?
Well, I like Casey. Well, of course, he's an ex Navy SEAL who's a turned investigator. I tried to give him to get away from the status quo. I tried to give him the background of he's Harvard educated. He comes from a family of lawyers, but he decided to break off and do his own thing. Um, So I did that to try to take it from, oh, we have this ex guy, this ex special forces guy, probably comes from a broken home, this, that, and the other. But I tried to give him an education, try to give him, he's a trust fund baby because his dad was, made money. The next book will explain how his dad got his money. But I like him because with all those things, he's still human. There's still a heart under that rough
Yeah.
exterior, and he's gonna show that. So he shows it a little bit in Dance with Death, but he'll show it more in this new book, because he finally settles down and has a
Oh
kid.
man.
But
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, spoiler, dude.
That's gonna be interesting to
Right.
see.
But it's like I, I wrote him because I came up with him because I didn't see a lot of us in the genre, you know, because he was supposed to be like a small character. Because my first book was called Jackson Stone, and it was about my series was gonna be around Jackson Stone, who's this, high powered attorney in Detroit, Harvard educated, comes from money, always finds himself in predicaments. But when I introduced Casey, I'm like, well, I want to go with this character. So yeah, the Jackson Stone book is on Amazon, but it's like Casey Stone is where my heart is. And I created him because I didn't see a lot of us in the genre. I didn't see Black John Wicks. Only the closest thing we got was the remake of Robert McCall. But that's a remake. Um and yeah, we had Wesley Snipes in the 90s. But I didn't see like on during this day, you don't see a lot of us in the genre. You don't see a lot of black uh heroes in the genre. You don't see a lot of black ex Navy, ex special forces, and people don't believe that there are black Navy SEALs,
Yeah,
there are
Black
black
Navy Seals.
Delta operators, there are black CIA operatives. So that's why I created him, and I like him because he's tough. He gets the job done, and he's not superhuman. He takes his licks, keeps on moving, but he bruises just like the rest of us. He's not one of these heroes where he goes into a bar and he kicks everybody's ass.
He's not like that guy
Right.
you were talking about, Rambo. Is that what's his name? Rambo.
Right.
That was
Or
way before my
the
time, so I
the
don't know.
5'4" Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise. It's like, did y'all read the books?
Yeah, but they
Tom
got it
Cruise.
right for the TV series. You
Right,
got,
they got it right for the series.
yeah. I don't think they could have found a bigger dude. And then they found a bigger
Right.
dude.
Yeah.
It's
So
funny that you said that, John. That you looked at it as there's not a lot of us in the genre, which is
mhm.
I think we can agree on that. I came from a different point of view. Is that I often say when people ask me, I'm not a black writer. I'm a writer that happens to be black because I don't get up in the morning and say, how should I be black today? I mean, it's just, it is what it is. And I always
Right.
just, I remember when I was motivated, it was like, it wasn't a point of, I need to make a black that. I was just like, I need to make that from my point of view. And my point of view is black. So
hmm
it's interesting. I'm glad to say, that's it's nice to see that just, we do things different ways to get to the same.
I guess I'll talk about Orlando Black. I mean, he's not invincible, but he is pretty tough. I'll say that he's pretty tough. He's resilient. That's one thing I like about him. He's been through a lot. Parents died, foster home, and despite all of the stuff he's been through with dad and in the military, he still has a good heart. He still has a good heart, and he can't help but to help people because he can, right? I
hmm
like that he's very, very, very intelligent, very observant. He's reserved. He's kind of quiet and keeps to himself. And he doesn't go look for trouble. Trouble always seems to find him or someone close to him, and he helps. But I really like that he seems to be a man of integrity. He's a man of integrity and a very deadly man of integrity.
hmm
And he's human. He don't go around beating up everybody, but he can come close to beating everybody. But yeah, and
It's funny hearing you civilians making all your heroes military. I just find that very, very interesting. Hey,
you're a
we coming in
civilian
on,
too now.
huh?
You're a
Yeah, but
civilian too now.
I did my time. We coming in about an hour. I like this, and I think we
Yeah.
should do this again. There's some conversations to be had. Maybe it should be a little bit more formatted. But I really just wanted to just get together and just shoot the shit with some brothers in the industry. We can talk about it more. I think there's things that like AI, and I know we haven't really we touched on it a little bit, but that's a big thing.
hmm
The impact of audio books and possibly AI books.
Yeah.
I've come across some of that, and that's scary. But
I
the,
did
the
a
role of sisters.
through I don't know if you guys know this. Sorry to cut you off, but through Draft through Digital,
Hmm.
they do they'll give you a choice to have your books narrated in AI now through Apple
Yep.
Books through using what they call a digital voice. Um,
What they
but
call
yeah, AI is
it's everywhere.
that's a whole another 2 hour topic
And that's
because
something that's just by the time we get to it, it'll be completely different than it is now. It is scary.
yes, because I had someone contact me, a local producer, said, "Hey, I need a script written. How much you charge?" I gave him my price. He gave me. I guess he took a day to think about it. He calls me back. He said, "Honestly, I was fooling around with ChatGPT. I'm gonna let them write the script for me."
Hmm.
Okay,
They
I
not
can't. I
there yet.
can't argue with that. But your script's not gonna have soul.
Mm-mm, it ain't gonna have no soul.
Yeah,
It ain't
and
gonna
it's
have no
probably
character. Ain't gonna have no heart.
right. It's probably borrowing from
A
other
lot of other
people's
people.
scripts or.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But hey.
Probably to it. I mean, that's what AI does. It just
Mhm.
goes out in the world. Like I said, a whole nother conversation. But
Mhm.
John, Alex, man, I really appreciate you guys jumping in. Alex, you didn't say it. I thought you would, but I think it's about time we get working on another collective.
Yeah.
Who's down?
I'm
I know I
down.
got.
Um,
Actually, I got a story. I got a story for it. So
see?
I'm
Oh,
down.
Look.
I guess that sounds like an offline conversation. We'll do that. But hey, thank you guys for showing up. Everybody, we're gonna put their links down there. Please support these independent authors, independent Black authors. Support their voices, and we'll catch you again next time. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it,
All right,
guys.
guys.